So today we are going to do a little investigation on the Chevy project. We're going to change its oil, but we're not just changing the oil. We're going to investigate the health of the engine through the oil. Now, over the past year, I have been driving the truck around. Don't worry, I haven't driven it too much on one oil change. Yes, you're supposed to change your oil either every 6 months or 2,000 to 5,000 miles, but we haven't driven it that much. We maybe got 100 miles on this oil change, and it'll be fine, right? It sat with old oil in it for 23 years. And if you remember back when we changed the oil, it was pretty thick and sludgy. It was like molasses coming out of that crankcase. I don't know what oil they had in it. They probably had just 90 weight gear oil in it, to be honest. So after we changed the oil and we went through and did that, we were able to see kind of what the condition of the motor was when it was parked, but that's not a very good representation of what its health is right now. So after we changed the oil, a whole bunch of fuel got pumped into the crankcase because we had to replace the fuel pump. Now that fuel would have gone through and cleaned up any grease or any sludge in the engine, but not a whole heck of a lot. It would have just done a little bit, basically surface oil. So over the past year, I've had Marvel Mystery Oil and Seafoam in the crankcase of this engine, and that's been cleaning stuff up. So today we're going to drain the oil to see what we're going to find in the oil that's going to tell us what the health of this engine is. Now, it seems to run pretty decently, but is it in good condition? And that's exactly what we're going to find out here in a little bit. We'll go through more of why I'm testing, why I'm seeing, and why you can tell a lot about your engine just from your oil here in a little bit. But I've got oil right here, 1540 diesel oil, that I'm going to be putting back in this engine, and I will go through why I'm doing that as well. It has to do with something called ZDDP. We'll dive into that here in a little bit. But I'm a little hungry, so let's go ahead, fire the truck up so we can warm up the engine and make it a little bit easier to drain the oil, back it out. We'll drive down to the store, and who wouldn't want to go take a little drive in this thing? We've worked really hard on this truck over the past year, and it drives great, runs well, so who wouldn't want to appreciate that? So go ahead, hop in the pickup, I'll get the door open, and we'll go on a little cruise. Over the past year, what have we done to this truck? We have made it shiny, we've painted the whole passenger side of the truck, and we painted the top of the truck. Now we still got a little bit of work to do, like this door still doesn't latch, and we need to sand the top of the truck and make that shiny, because right now it's a little bit orange peely. But it didn't do bad for just some rattle can paint job. And so a lot of that is cosmetic. We haven't really done much engine work to the truck, which is good. And we're gonna cross our fingers and knock on metal. But we took the valve covers off, got the valve cover gaskets replaced and everything like that in hopes that that would fix our oil leak, right? Now, it did, kind of. It's not as bad as it was, but there's still a little bit of an oil leak, which I think the rest of that might be coming from the oil pan. I'm hoping it's not coming from the rear main seal or the front main seal, either or. Don't really want that. And we need to get blinkers working, because right now we don't have blinkers. But the truck is running pretty good. We could probably stand some suspension work because it is a little bit wobbly, which we haven't gotten to that yet, and the bed is still in terrible condition. It's not as bad as it could be, but it ain't great. So there's still a lot of work to be done on this truck, but I picked up another project, a couple other projects that I'd like to get to before it snows. Wintertime is coming, and wintertime's actually already here where I'm at. We already have snow in the mountains. Luckily, we don't have any snow down here, but that could change overnight. So we've got some work that needs to be done to the old John Deere, and then there's a little project I want to bring in because it'd be a pain in the rear to get it in the garage when there's snow on the ground. So we're gonna hope. Need to turn on my turn signal. But I picked up another project that I'd love to start on, and I think you guys would really enjoy it. But we've got a little bit of work left to do on the Chevy still, like changing the oil, doing the points, cap, rotor, getting the distributor working a little bit better than it is. Not to say that it's not running good, but we do have a little bit of a every now and then. So we will need to get that remedied. But in any case, I'm gonna go get some food. You guys want anything? Want anything from the store? No? Yeah? Well, son of a gun. I'll see what I can scrounge up. Getting back to the garage. Sorry, they didn't have enough for you guys. They were really low. I was on the tail end of the lunchtime run-in. All the little burgers were gone. They got these really good little like burger things. There's no, I don't even think there's cheese on them, but they're like little things you just throw in the microwave, get them done real quick, but they have them done already. So you can just go and grab them and eat them. So it's really nice. Trust me. They're pretty good for just a grocery store kind of food, so. But anyway, we're back at the garage. Let's go ahead and get the oil drained in this thing. So now that's all warmed up and everything's hot, and I'm probably gonna get burned on the manifold and the exhaust pipe. We're finally ready to see what we've got in the oil. So what I'll be looking for is metal shavings. They'll be like little sparklies. We're also looking for anything milky, anything like that, just to see what our health of our engine is, because you can tell a lot from your oil. So before we get too carried away here, let's jack up the truck so I can actually get under there, and we'll break it free and see what we've got in the oil. And we can also check what's going on, what's been caught by the oil filter, because this oil filter is an element type oil filter, which means it's got a canister instead of a spin on. Take the canister off, take the element out, and you can see actually what that filter looks like, as opposed to not knowing or having to cut open those spin-on type oil filters. So let's get some wrenches, get some jacks, and get to work. So hopefully I don't douse you guys in oil here. That feels funny. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, right? Backwards because I'm laying upside down. That's pretty watery, but it is also very hot. Very hot. Ow. That burns a little bit. But honestly, it's looking pretty good. I haven't seen any big chunks came out. It looks pretty good aside from it being very dirty. So we'll go ahead and let it sit here and drain, and we'll put it on the bench and sift through it, because I'm not sure if it's bubbles. I'm hoping it's bubbles, but I am seeing a little bit of possibly some stuff, which to see stuff is to be expected, but a lot of it should be caught by the filter. And we will be changing that filter, because you should always change your filter when you change your oil. I know there's some people out there that don't. They don't change their filter when they change their oil, and it's like, well, you probably really should do that. Okay. All right, well, we will let that pee there for a little bit, and then we'll dig into it. So now you can kind of see that I've got a little bit of a leak on my filter here. So that might be where some of our leak is coming from, but you can see this is still all wet under here. And that is where I'm hoping that it's just the oil pan gasket and nothing more serious. And you can come back here and see that even the transmission is still leaking a little bit. And look how gunky it is. We'll have to remedy that at some point, but let's go ahead and get this, get this off. Okay, I gotta not drop it. Oh my gosh, it's always heavier than I expect. All right, so you can see this thing, it's got a filter in it, and it's full of oil. Sorry that it's sideways. That's the best I can do. All right, I'm gonna set you guys down, and I'm gonna get all of this out and put on the bench so we can go through it. So the oil really doesn't look as bad as I was anticipating, which is a very good sign because, you know, this thing sat forever. And this has been its real first oil change after our first oil change. So now we're going to pour this out into this one here, and we're gonna see if we can't see anything catching, silver stuff, chunks, parts of gears, anything like that, that is at the bottom of the pan, since it would be heavier than the oil. So let's go ahead and see what we get here. So what I'm looking for is stuff up in these ridges here. But all I'm seeing is maybe a little bit of dirt, some sludge. This little rim right here, I don't know if you can see that in the camera. Let's see if I can get it to come back. See that? How it kind of whips around. That lighter color. That right there is wear. That is metal being deposited down into the oil from just wearing bearings. So I hope you were able to see that. But overall in here, I'm not seeing anything, which is a good sign, because after it sat for who knows how long, at least 23 years, and that first oil change, that's just all the stuff that had sunk to the bottom, really, and not running at all. So that's not really a good determination on how healthy our engine is. So now after running it for as long as we ran it and running Marvel Mystery Oil, the detergents, right, through it, this oil change right here, given that it just looked like a regular oil change and there was nothing in it, like metal shavings like I was thinking I was gonna find, or big chunks that fell off, because when something sits for 23 years, right, and it sits in one spot, that right there, that spot becomes a wear mark naturally, because that's where it's sat, that's where gravity has it sitting, that's where it's just seals get hard in that spot, other things start happening. That's why there's a possibility that the oil leak in this truck could be a rear or front main seal, which if it is, we'll fix it. We're gonna cross our fingers that it's not, because that means we have to take the pan off and possibly have to take the transmission out and remove some of those main caps for the crank. So we're gonna hope that that's not the case and it's just leaking because it's an old engine and there's like pan gasket that needs to be replaced still, because it is leaking a lot less than what it was before, which is a good sign. But anyway, I'm not seeing anything in this that would tell me that there's really anything wrong with this engine. So I think we do in fact have a pretty healthy engine. They took care of it and changed the oil regularly, which is exactly what we'll be doing, is changing the oil in it regularly. I like to change my oil in these old cars every 2,000 miles or after 6 months to a year. The oils of today are much better than the oils of yesterday, so they can withstand quite a bit. And I mean, if you're not driving it much, and maybe it being a daily driver is 20 miles to a local town, and then 20 miles back, that's 40 miles a trip. You know, we could talk about this all day, and really all we're doing is changing the oil and making sure we have a healthy engine. And it looks like we do. So let's go ahead and, oh, I wanted to go through this too. This is the canister filter that comes with these trucks. Now, cars of today, and even some of these that have been adapted over, use a spin-on type oil filter. And this is what I was meaning by the filter element. This piece right here, because then you have a metal canister. That was that piece I was holding. It doesn't taste like gas. There's no ethanol taste. It smells fine. Well, it smells like, you know, oil. It smells the way it should. And so the reason why I smell it and I taste it is because you need to use all of your senses. Obviously, don't like take a whole swig of that, you know, just a little bit on your tongue. It's not gonna hurt you. That way you can get a full sense of everything. I do recommend spitting it out though. Don't swallow this. Don't swallow this, but you can do that as a test to see kind of where you're sitting at. And when I first did this, like every time I come across one of these old rigs, I pull the dipstick, I smell it, I just dab a little bit on my tongue, out of the very tippy top, and it's like the pure vanilla meme. If you know what I'm talking about, where he sits there and he takes his little spoon, a little golden spoon of ice cream, and he puts it on his tongue and he goes, aerate it, taste it, smell it.
Pure vanilla.
And that's kind of what you do with this here. You taste it,
aerate it, warm it up.
Pure oil. And so it is funny. And that was something that I did in fact learn when I was in college, that you would taste your oil just to try and diagnose what's going on. So anyway, this all looks pretty good. I'm happy with it. We're gonna go ahead and drain that into our burn barrel thing. Smudge pot, there we go. And go ahead and fill this truck up with some of our diesel oil, and I'll talk to you about ZDDP. So ZDDP, it's zinc, but with a really long name. Zinc dialkethyl thiophosphate.
Zinc dialkylphosphate.
Must be why they call it ZDDP. But anyway, they put it in diesel oil because diesels require a little bit more pampering than, say, a gas engine. But for these old engines, because oil is a lot different and there's no lead in gasoline anymore, they require that extra little bit of lubrication provided by the zinc. There's all kinds of different oils you can buy for these cars. A lot of people like to use what is called Rotella 1540. That can be a little pricey. And so what I like to use is whatever's on sale. And this right here just so happened to be cheaper. It was the cheapest one. It was on sale. It was cheaper than normal, like 1040, which I thought was crazy because it's like, it's diesel oil. It should be more expensive, right? Nope. And so you'll go on all kinds of different forums and they'll sit there and they'll tell you that, well, you need to have, you know, liquid moly $100,000 oil for your racing, non-racing engine. People say you should be only using racing oil because they have all the additives that are needed for these old engines. But you got to remember, back in the day, oil was a lot tougher. than the oils we have of today. I would say oil today is a lot more plush than the oils of yesterday. And so you can get away with using whatever oil you really want to do. But because this engine here has flat tappets for the camshaft, it would like to have a little bit more zinc than what's in normal oils. So diesel oil is my choice. 1540 is the best one that I could find when I did my research. There was all kinds of places saying that 530 was a good one as well to use. But that 1540 Rotella was the best, most affordable option that you could come across, and I found an even more affordable option. So it's just the other oil company. They're probably all the same. It all comes from Earth, so. Anyway, that does it on that end. Hopefully I bought enough oil. Called for 5 quarts. This was a gallon, 4, and then the 5th quart in the filter. So hopefully that's enough. If not, we'll just get another quart. But so yeah, that's why I'm using the 1540, because I'm not gonna go get a lead additive, because lead additive, you look on the back and said it treats however many gallons. You'd basically have to buy one of those every time you wanted to fill your tank, and that's expensive. And then I'm not buying a ZDDP additive, because that's expensive too, and I can just buy diesel oil for it. So that is that answer solved. So now we got a little bit more plush oil in it. Honestly, it's probably fine either way, but I'll be weird. But anyway, let's go ahead, fire up the truck. Actually, let's check to see where our level is. We're just past the full line, but we still have to fire up the truck. There's a little bit of room still left in the oil filter or the canister that has to be taken up, about that much of it, so it'll go down once we start it up. But now all we have to do is check for leaks, so leaks around the oil filter and leaks out of the drain plug. And if we don't have anything there, then the oil's been changed and we are good to go on our next project. So let's go ahead and fire this thing up. So y'all watching underneath? Cross our fingers and hope nothing bad happens. Shouldn't. Famous last words. I didn't pull the choke, so. Well, I don't see anything. Sounds happy with it. No oil light or anything like that, so we got good oil pressure. Yeah, aside from that little spot of oil under it coming from behind, it's okay. So what I think I might do is I might go ahead and take it for a little test drive, get it nice and warm and everything. Bring it back in here, wipe up the mess on the floor, and then hopefully I won't see any leaks. Guys want to come with me? Of course you do. Okay. I just went and did one more look around on the truck. Make sure we weren't leaking anything now, and it seems to be okay. Let's see if I can squeeze myself out of here again. The doors in the garage are just a little too skinny for these giant mirrors, but sometimes there's just enough room to squeeze through. And you guys get to go on 2 rides today. So there was this interesting thing that I was told that apparently, depending on what oil you put in your rig, can make it run differently. I guess a group of guys, they had put hydraulic oil in their crankcase and had fired their car up or rig up, and it just ran like absolute garbage. I mean, I figure oil's oil and oil would work, and maybe your oil pressure would be a little low, but it wouldn't make it run differently, I wouldn't think, but apparently it did. And so, oh hey, look at that, we got police lights, what happened? Oh, looks like we're gonna find out. Anyway, oh, there's a lot of them. Now I'm curious. This truck didn't come with seatbelt. Oh, that's probably a terrible glare. I'm sorry, I'll sit in front of that. There's only going to be a glare for a little ways, but... Oh, shoot. Looks like there's a car accident. Or... I don't know. There's something. There's a car sitting right in the center of the road. I don't know what's going on. That's weird though. A whole lot of lights flashing, but nothing going on, it seemed. Interesting. Anyway, so I guess the car ran like absolute garbage, and then they changed the oil, put the right oil, the right viscosity oil back in it, and the truck ran great. So I was kind of curious to see if changing the oil in this truck from 1040, a little bit thicker oil, to the 1540, which is just a skosh thinner, it seems, would make it run any different. No, it still coughs and bucks. So we're definitely gonna, I'm hoping it's not the carburetor. The carburetor is pretty dirty on this old thing, so we might have to, gotta fix the door too. We might have to do some figuring on the carburetor, and it very well could be the points, distributor cap, and rotor. But I will say it is not happy right now. But definitely getting this door fixed would be a thing that needs to be done, because I'm actually having to hold it closed right now. So if I don't, it just blows open. So we definitely got to fix that. That's not safe. We may not have seat belts in this truck, but we definitely need closing doors. But it sounds like it's happy with this oil, so I'm hoping that the flat tappets are a bit happier, a little bit more zinc in our oil. There's a lot more detergents in diesel oil, so we might end up having to change the oil sooner than usual. But I guess that all depends on how much we drive the truck. But anyway, I want to thank you so much for stopping by the garage today and for coming along, coming on a drive with me, enjoying an afternoon. A Friday afternoon, you know. And I'll probably see you all right back here at the garage or driving around in the next video. But yeah, got the oil change, run great. My door, that's what I'm talking about. I need to fix the door.